Hey guys, Susanna here. I'm going to be doing something which I have been wanting to do for a little while. I want to make some coasters. This is a coaster that I made years ago, just using some fabric that had teacups and everything on there. So the beauty of this is it uses up your little scraps. So I've got my little scrap bag here, and I've used little bits and pieces, and I've got this caravan which I got from this book here, Stitch Kitsch, Jennifer Hewen, Heynen. It's a fairly new book, and it's got these gorgeous little caravans. So cute. There we go. So I want to make a placemat and a coaster. Like my brother-in-law, this is why I've chosen these colours, he's got a cream and green caravan, but I'm just going to do a few of them, and I wouldn't even mind making that. I think that'd be really cute. But I will link below. I'll just show you. There's a channel that's called Pay It Forward by Lisa Pay, and she has got this gorgeous little pattern of a mini quilt that's got a camper van and all that on there. So she has it in there for free. So this is from a book, and this one you can actually get for free, and it's got a little the window and a bunting and everything. It's rather cute. So I will link that below so that you can go and download. But this is one I've gotten from my book, which I've cut out, but I just thought if you want to get this book, it is rather cute. But here's my little pattern. So what I've done is I've cut out that little pattern, and I really like the one from Lisa Pay as well. I didn't like how I like the caravan going that way, and they said because when you do something and you do applique, you got to remember it's got to be the reverse side. So what I did is I photocopied it, and here's the reverse side. Photocopied lots of them, and then cut it up, and then turned it around and used the other side one. So I've got trace one. So what you do is you get some iron-on violin, and I bought a whole heap of this from Spotlight, and it's a bit thin. So I would actually recommend getting a thicker one, like a medium, not a real thick. It's sort of really thin like this, and then there's medium, and there's a thicker one. So it doesn't have to be iron-on, but I think for this purpose, an iron-on's actually pretty good. And then here's the iron side, and here's the normal side. So what you do is you get your piece of thing, so you just trace it, make sure that your pattern is, I think Lisa's pattern is reversed, so you just trace it as is. Oop. So you trace that. I'm going to be making a few of these. I'd like to stitch up some and maybe go to markets and sell them. So that's what you do with those, and then you cut that out. I did it with pen, and I found you can see the pen and all that kind of stuff on there. So I'm just sort of doing stuff ahead of time. Oh, see, it fell on the floor, dust everywhere. So here's bits and pieces that I've got which I want to make. So you would get that, you get your fabric, and on the right side, like this is the right side, you put the part that's the iron on towards the right side. So that's why you trace it on the non-iron-on side. So the iron-on side is on the right side of the fabric. Then you go on your machine and you sew all the way around, and its ends are really weird. But this is Laurie Holt's applique piecing method. Some of you may know Laurie Holt. She's on she's got a blog, Be in My Bonnet, and Riley Blake actually sells her beautiful, actually this is one of her beautiful fabrics, this green, and some of the others that I've done in my Christmas quilt. Then this is why you need a thicker. You cut this open, okay, and you get a tool like this, or I've got you've got to be careful with your knitting needle, make sure it's a dull point, and you turn it inside out. And when I saw this on her chat, actually it was on the Riley Blake channel, and when it's rounded, maybe just snip it a little bit, like I did with the when I made those Christmas decorations. You know, be careful not to snip. And what I should have done with this is actually stitched it with a lighter thread, but just use what I had on my sewing machine. So what we're doing is we're turning it inside out, and this is why I would recommend, see how it's really ripped it, a thicker violin, interfacing as they call it. So this way, because I mean I love the look of applique, but doing the, you know, the paper piece turned applique, you know, I think that's the smallest I would go. There's actually a window supposed to be in there, but I think I'm going to stitch it. I don't want to be like turning that was a right pain. So now you've actually got the iron-on violin, the sticky bit is on the outside. So make sure when you go around here, and some of it I have gotten the needle and poked it through and it's gone all the way through, but really make sure that you get the curves. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do this. This one I'm making for my brother-in-law, so and then some I'm just going to make. So what I have done, I have ironed that on and I've hand stitched. I don't know if you can see that just with the light. So I thought I'd just, and this piece here, I wanted the finished piece about 5-inch squares. I think it's going to be a bit smaller than that. So I did 5.5 and 5.5 square. So what we're going to do now, I've already got my pieces pre-done. I'm going to, this is where the iron-on stuff comes in handy. I've already hand stitched that one. Hopefully my iron's not going to be okay. Now it does go that way, I think. Yeah, sort of a bit straighter on the bottom, I think. It's got that curve there. I've already, hopefully you guys can see that. Oop. Okay. And because it's iron-on violin or whatever you call it, that's going to stick down, which is great. Now, here's my door. See, but to me it's completely torn. Yeah, they sort of look a little bit rounded. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to be hand stitching that, so I would proceed to hand stitch that. But with this one, I was actually thinking I'm going to go on the machine. So I will put both those pieces down. Now that's the rounded piece. Okay. I mean, if you don't have iron-on violin, it's okay. It will still work, but certainly makes it a little bit easier. Okay. Now, I need to pull this out just a tad. Okay, so I haven't pre-made one, so this is it. Now, I've hand stitched that one, so what I'm going to do is I'll give it a pause and I will go on the machine and stitch that. So I'll be back. Okay, back again. See my little hamburger? That's what it looks like, doesn't it? Okay, so I've done that. Now this one I've hand stitched. So I'm just going to show the difference between hand stitching and, I mean, if you're going to be making them in bulk, I would probably suggest, you know, doing it by machine, because I think it's sort of got that rustic look. And because it is appliqued, there's no raw edge, so it's fine. You don't have to do zigzag. I think having a straight stitch sort of gives it that rusticy look. Now I am, where am I here? This is for my brother-in-law. So I'm going to just hand stitch this down here. So hand stitch versus machine stitch. I mean, machine stitch definitely a lot easier. You can still do hand stitch as in all the extra bits and pieces, like where are we, on the door. See, it's going to have a little bit of stitching along there and stitching along there and here and here, and then the little door handle. See, I'll probably just do a French knot and maybe even just a normal piece of fabric. I could probably stick a normal piece on with a bit of Flies-Vix, and you can have a raw edge, that's fine. But because it's going to be used as a coaster and people are probably going to wash it, if they're going to be using it, you do want everything to be sticking down. That's why I'm doing the turned applique, so that this is completely machine washable. So, I mean, I enjoy hand applique, and it's nice that it can, something that can be done, because it's just sort of like a pick up slip stitch. Okay. I'm going to be, I mean, this is probably going to be a couple of part series, because we're going to have putting it together too, like getting the wadding in between. And I like this idea of not having, I mean, this is my sewing machine was playing up something chronic on this. I just had the wadding in between and have a normal, and I'll leave it open in a certain bit and then turn it around like I did with these bits, and then sew around so that you're not having to put on in binding on the edge. So it still holds it together, but it's a quicker way of doing it, especially when it's a coaster or a placemat. Making a quilt, I'll do binding. That's different. I wouldn't sew it and then turn it around and sew the edges. But when you're doing small things like placemats and coasters, you know, sew both of them together and then leave a gap, turn them around and then sew it down is the best way to go. So you sort of got the drift of what I am trying to do here. I'll probably finish my brother-in-law's one a little bit down the track. So what we're going to do, okay, now got that there like that. Okay. Oop. It's pretty buggered, this one. So put that on there like that. I'll take that off first. I thought I'd better put the door on first so we know what we're doing. And this is why I had to stop and sew. I mean, this is not the easiest fabric in the world, I can tell you, to work with. But it was a top that I saw in the thrift shop and I liked the colour. So sometimes you just get things because the colours are good. Ugh. But definitely pays to use cottons, I tell you. And that's a bit of a flat bit, so I'm going to put the flat bit down on the ground, I think. So where are we? Yeah, about there. So cute. And then whichever one. That goes up there like that. So maybe I'll put it a little higher. See, it's this is why having some iron-on violin works great. But see, that middle bit is not put down. Where are we? Okay. Oop. Yeah, turning this around the other way. I think this is about as small as I would go, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Now I'll be back. Oh, how cute is that? And I'm gonna be sewing, and I'm gonna hand stitch just underneath there, like a little, might draw it actually, sort of like a little thing for the toe bar. There we go. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, back again. Here it is, stitched down. I actually really like, the reason why sewing it down is, I think, is great, because it eliminates, this is like hand stitched. I actually finished hand stitching here, and I didn't stitch that down because I thought I'm going to go over it with, you know, maybe do a running stitch along there to add a little bit of texture, and I'll do the same. So I hand stitched that on. So it eliminates a step by doing the stitching around there, because on the machine. But there is something nice about it being hand stitched as well. So yeah, so okay, well this is the part that I've done for this step. So for the next step, you need to get out your wadding. Oops, here we go. And I'll in the background I'll do like a finish stitching this on, hand stitching this on. I'm going to go over the top of that because we need that little round bit in the middle, and I'm just going to do a little running stitch with maybe a darker colour and a French knot for the door, and I might even just do, I've got some of this light thread which I may just do a square and do a satin stitch to make the window. So because I think that's going to be easier than actually trying to piece and turn around a piece. So I think this is so cute. I love it. I love the colours too, like it's real retro-y colours. The reason why I chose these colours for my brother-in-law is because that's the colour caravan he's got. But one I want to do one, it's going to have this red on the top, and you know, sort of, I think I really like that retro-y colour. So this blue and the reds. I've even got a little checkered door. I think I would like to have on one of them. So yeah, it's the possibilities are endless, and they will look really cute. So what you would need to do now is get a backing fabric, just something plain because it's the back, whatever you want, and some of the wadding. Hang 10, I'll just have show you. Okay, back again. Yeah, got this fabric. I think I use that for, so just something fairly plainish, which I'll use for the back. And the wadding is just quilting wadding, sort of like what they call wool. You can get a bit more acrylic-y type stuff, and even when you've got bits and pieces of wadding, what you do, see this one I wanted to make a bigger square, so you just butt them together. Like if you want to put those two bits together, you would butt them together on the sewing machine and do a zigzag, and it just holds them together, because once it's underneath you will not be able to see it. See, that's the perfect size for that. Just needed that little bit extra bit, and then you would cut the backing. Just say this is the backing fabric, which is almost, there's one that's almost the right size, I think. You would put that on there like that. So you would have the 3 layers, you'd have that, you would put the backing fabric on there, and then you would stitch it around, leaving it opening, and then you turn it inside out, and there you have your little placemat. But I'll probably show you a bit more bits and pieces. What you would do now is, this is where you do any embroidery that you want to do while it's got the backing on there first, then you do the last bit, which I will do in the next part of the video. Oh, they're so cute. I just love them. If you know me by now, you know I'm like using the word cute, but very relevant in these. So cute. Okay, so yeah, don't forget the link below. Lisa Pay on Pay It Forward, her channel has a free she just has heaps of free patterns, which I've got a sewing machine one that I want to do, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be using a lot of her patterns, which is really great. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.